Let's be real. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they keep playing small, because they keep making the same weak choices every single day. Everybody talks about winning, but most people won't do what it takes to win. And I'm not talking about talent. I'm not talking about connections. I'm talking about decisions. Let me break it down. 5 reasons why most people fail and why it doesn't have to be you. Number 1, they don't want it bad enough. Saying you want to succeed is easy. Everybody says they want it, but the truth is, most people don't want it bad enough to actually pay the price. They like the idea of success, but they're not willing to bleed for it. They're not willing to lose sleep, cut off distractions, or go through the grind day after day. Wanting something isn't enough. It's what you're willing to ace, give up to get it that separates winners from talkers. When the alarm goes off at 4 a.m., when your body is tired, when your bank account is low, when nobody is clapping, will you still show up? That's the question most people can't answer. They're in love with the outcome, but not the process. They want the trophies without the training. They want the spotlight without the sacrifice. They see someone winning and think it happened overnight. But what they don't see is the pain, the failures, the lonely nights, the silent battles. If you don't want it more than your excuses, more than your comfort, more than your distractions, then you'll settle every time. The hunger has to be real, and it has to be bigger than every reason you have to quit. Number 2, they let their feelings run the show. Feelings are liars. They'll tell you to stay in bed, to take a break, to start tomorrow. Most people lose not because they're incapable, but because they let their feelings control their actions. They wait to feel motivated before they move. They wait to feel confident before they speak. But champions don't move based on emotion. They move based on commitment. They've already made the decision, so it doesn't matter how they feel when the moment comes. Discipline kicks in. Purpose kicks in. You think the greats feel amazing every time they show up. No, but they show up anyway. They train when they're tired. They grind when they're drained. They perform when the pressure is on, even when everything inside them is telling them to stop. That's the difference. People who are led by feelings live a roller coaster life, up one day, down the next, moving in circles. But those who are led by discipline build momentum. They keep climbing. They build habits that don't require emotional permission. They stop negotiating with laziness and start commanding their future. Until you learn to act regardless of emotion, you'll always be a prisoner to your mood, and your mood was never built to lead you to greatness. Number 3, they're addicted to comfort. Comfort is one of the biggest traps that destroys potential. Most people stay stuck because they've convinced themselves that being comfortable means they're okay. They avoid pain, they avoid risk, and they avoid pressure, thinking they're protecting themselves. But in reality, they're just choosing to stay average. Growth only lives outside your comfort zone. The pain you avoid is often the path you need to take. Every breakthrough begins with discomfort. That early morning when you don't want to wake up, that workout when your body's screaming, that late night grinding when everyone else is sleeping. That's the pressure that turns you into something stronger. Comfort will lie to you and tell you you're doing enough when deep down you know you're capable of more. It whispers that you've earned the right to relax, even though the mission isn't finished. The moment you get too comfortable is the moment you stop growing. The people who win, who dominate, who rise above. They chase uncomfortable. They run toward it. They understand that every level they want to reach demands a new version of them, and that version can't be born in comfort. If you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're not ready to succeed. Number 4, they keep quitting too soon. Most people are not failing because they don't have what it takes. They're failing because they give up too soon. They start strong, they talk big, they move with fire in the beginning, but the moment resistance shows up, they fold. The moment the results don't come fast enough, they start looking for an exit. They convince themselves that maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe it's not their time. Maybe they'll try again later. But the truth is, they were closer than they realized. The pain was part of the process. The delay was part of the test. Every setback was shaping the character they needed to carry the success they asked for. Most people stop digging when they're just inches away from gold. They quit before the breakthrough. They walk away right before the window opens. They don't understand that greatness lives in the follow through. It lives in the people who stay in the fight long after the feeling is gone. Quitting becomes a habit when you allow it once, but pushing through becomes power when you refuse to back down. Every time you keep going when everything in you wants to stop, you build something unshakable inside yourself. Number 5, they talk more than they work. Talking is easy. Talking sounds good. People love to say they're grinding, they're focused, they're chasing greatness. But when it's time to show the work, there's nothing there. They post the quotes, they share the videos, they speak with passion, but there's no action behind the word. They want to look like they're winning more than they want to actually win. They love the idea of being successful, but they hate the effort it requires. Talking doesn't build empires, execution does. You can have the best plans, the biggest vision, the most powerful goals, but if you don't put in the work, none of it matters. People think success is about hype, about being loud, about being seen. But the ones who are really winning are working in silence. They're grinding when the cameras are off. They're locked in when the crowd isn't watching. They're doing the hard stuff that nobody wants to do. Talking might get attention, but only action brings results. You can either be the one talking about what you're going to do or be the one doing it while everyone else is still talking. Every minute spent talking about the dream is a minute that could have been used building it. Failure doesn't happen overnight. It's not a single moment. It's not one bad decision. It's a pattern. It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle of taking the easy route when things get hard. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they choose comfort over challenge, feelings over discipline, and talk over execution. They make quitting a habit. They let fear and doubt speak louder than purpose. And they never go deep enough to see what they're truly made of. The people who rise are not always the smartest, not always the most talented, but they've made a decision not to quit. They've learned how to ignore the lies their feelings tell them. They've trained themselves to crave discomfort because they understand that pressure is what produces power. They've learned to be quiet with their mouths and loud with their actions. They don't post their grind. They live it. They don't just chase success. They become the kind of person success sticks to. Most people fail because they stop moving forward. They think a delay means denial. They confuse discomfort with danger. But the process is always going to test you before it blesses you. The pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. The hard moments aren't obstacles, they're opportunities to grow, to sharpen your character, to prove to yourself that you're built for more. But that only happens if you stay in the game, if you outlast the doubt, if you keep pushing when it doesn't make sense to keep going. Your greatness isn't waiting for you in comfort. It's hiding in the places you've been avoiding. It's buried under the sacrifices you haven't made yet. It's on the other side of the excuses you've been using to stay small. And the moment you decide that failure is no longer an option, the moment you choose to move with discipline and stop dancing with your emotions, that's when everything starts to shift. This isn't about being perfect. This is about being relentless, about showing up daily, doing the work, and refusing to quit, about understanding that everything you want has a price, and you either pay it now in sweat and sacrifice, or you pay it later in regret. There are no shortcuts, no handouts, no guarantees. Just the grind and the decision to never stop. You don't have to be like most people. You don't have to settle. You don't have to fail. You can make the decision right now to be different, to move different, to think different, to walk away from the excuses and walk into your purpose. You can be the one who doesn't give up. You can be the one who breaks the cycle. You can be the one who doesn't just talk about it, but actually becomes it. So don't follow the crowd. Don't fall into the trap. Choose hunger. Choose discipline. Choose the hard road that leads to real growth. Because while most people fail, you don't have to. And starting today, you won't.